back with another workshop. This one with Rebecca Kallaus. Is that you say the last? Awesome. Yeah, she is an amazing operations expert. And to give a proper introduction, I'm going to pass over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Athen and the whole School of Hard Knocks team. So super total pleasure to be here with you guys today. So I'm going to share my screen in just a sec, but first, let me see if I can find my team. Since Athen seems to give me a co-host, let me find my
Absolutely.
here.
Let me see here. Cool. I just passed host over to you.
Fabulous. Which actually, Athen, I'm gonna give it to Adriana. So it doesn't look like I can make her a co-host. It's only host is the only option. So I'm just gonna give her host. So that way she can you can coordinate with her.
Awesome. Beautiful. Sounds
awesome.
good. Thank you.
Cool. All right. All right. We have so many people jumping in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen and kick things off. Cool. And if everyone could just mute yourselves. So let me see if I can grab my controls here, and then Adriana, I'm gonna hand it over to you. So there we go. Okay. All right, Adriana, just made you host. Awesome. And then if you could just mute anybody who forgot to mute themselves, and we'll get started. Awesome. Well, thank you to everyone, and super excited to be here. So hello to everyone jumping on right now. From what I've been told, if you're either watching this live or on the replay, you're probably in one of two buckets. Either you're working on scaling your business, or you're in early stages trying to do things right from the start, or some of you are still in concept mode. So wherever you're at, totally fine. We have a whole bunch of different things for you today. So hopefully something in here lands and is helpful for a takeaway. And for those of you who are in the early stages, we might go a little bit deep. Don't get too overwhelmed. Just take away anything that is let's see. We got to, let's see, Adriana, can you make sure to mute? We got a Mowgli. Thank you. Appreciate it. Awesome. Cool. So my name is Rebecca Kallaus, founder of Business Done Better, and I love working with anyone in any of the buckets that we just mentioned. So today's all about how to run a business that doesn't run you. So by the end of this, my goal is for you to understand why your business feels heavier than it should, or to warn you about what might be to come and how to navigate it in a way that will save you a lot of time, money, and stress if you listen carefully enough. So I'm sure there's a lot of different reasons why each of you started your business, but I don't think it was because any of you wanted an 80-hour-a-week job in your business. So we're going to help make sure that doesn't become the case for you. So most people talk about freedom when they start a business. So they say, work from anywhere, set your own hours, be your own boss, design your life. So freedom to pursue your passion, spend more time with your family, go on more skiing trips, freedom to have the money to do whatever you want. But what people don't talk about enough is that running a business is one of the hardest things that you can possibly do. So let's talk about the reality of starting your own business. So on paper, it sounds fantastic, but what most people don't realize is that you're signing up to wear all the hats. I'm sure everyone has heard that phrase before, but I want you to really sit with that for a moment with me. So this means from legal to finance, marketing, sales, fulfillment, all of that is on you. Now you might be saying, oh, but I can hire people to do my fulfillment or sales or marketing. Great, we'll cover a few things there, but when you have a team, then you also become a therapist, the office manager, HR, and so much more from there. Okay, so be your own boss means you're on top of everything that we just mentioned, and you get to deal with the angry client call, overdue notice, pings from your team to hop on a quick Zoom call, all before you've had your first cup of coffee. Something breaks, you get to be the one to fix it. Client freaks out, you're the one to handle it. Don't have enough money for payroll? That's on you to figure out. So the truth is, entrepreneurship is always demanding before it ever has a chance to be glamorous. I say all this not to scare you, maybe a little bit, but only because it should really be taken seriously. Too many people talk about the perks of being a founder versus what it really requires for you to succeed. So I'm going to lean into this a little bit more, and then we're going to run through some tangible action steps to help you navigate. So I want to share a story with you guys of a day I had a while back. So this was a day that was supposed to be a quiet office day for me to get solo work done. Side note about batching your time. Batching your time is really critical. So if you don't batch your time, quick reminder to make sure you arrange your schedule to fit that in. But on this day, before I even sat down to my computer, I got a message from a team member saying that she needed to tell me something and could I hop on a quick Zoom. So this was someone who had been thriving in our business for 3 months, and we just turned over 80% of our clients to this person as an account manager. And on that call, she gave me 2 days notice. She'd been offered her dream job, and it was a once in a lifetime opportunity. So I said, I wish you the best. I immediately pinged my director of operations, my project manager, who were on a meeting, and I asked if I could butt into their meeting really quick to jump in and let them know, as we needed to immediately pivot the team since we only had 2 days notice, and my project manager was the only one who could handle all the client accounts. Since we also had somebody in training, but she was on week 3, and we realized it wasn't going to work out, so we had already decided to let her go at the end of the week. So that took my project manager, who was basically wrapping over org chart and stuff like that today, but she was basically the queen of my chessboard, if you will, out of her superpower, and reinforcements were a minimum of 2 months away. So she pretty much had a panic attack. She was already stressed before that, and then basically quadrupled her workload in just that one call. So we had to completely pivot everything that was on her plate. And then as I'm about to leave that meeting, my director of ops asked if I'd heard from one of my managers who had a history of health issues, who had literally been in a MIA due to being in a coma in the past. And I said, nope, haven't heard from him. Let's start the MIA protocol, because there needs to be a system. We'll talk about that later. And which means that we're counting down minutes before we reach out to someone in his personal life to make sure he's alive. Mind you, it's not even 10 a.m. at this point. Turned out my manager was fine, but his street was flooding. He'd lost all power and cell service, and as he evacuated to a stable place. My project manager, I have her in that position because she's an absolute rock star. So she took some space, figured out a new game plan. We recalibrated towards the end of the day so we could move strong with clarity. But in the middle of all of that, before anything had concluded or gotten sorted out, I had an extremely important call with a potential investor, call with a critical vendor, had to get feedback to my team on time-sensitive items, all while writing for a speech that I had for an event I was hosting in 2 days. Oh, also had 3 hires that I just started a few days prior, so I needed to give them critical attention in order to get them kicked off strongly onto the team, all while hiding the fact that we had 2 weeks left of financials before I had no idea if we were going to survive as a company. And then every single item required me to be calm, clear, and 100% locked in. But behind the scenes, my stomach was in knots, my mind was racing, I totally wanted to vomit. So hopefully there's some things coming up for you guys here. We'll touch on those in a second. But on top of all that, if that wasn't enough, the man I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with seemed like we were at a permanent impasse, and I was having to recalibrate everything on the personal side as well. So I'm balancing all sorts of mental, emotional state behind the scenes. All of that sat to the back of my throat while I smiled through team calls and made new hires feel welcome and excited. And while I reassured everyone that the vision of the company was intact and the ship was steady. So this day might have been slightly above average, but it was really just a Thursday and wasn't even the hardest day that I've ever had as a founder. So if I say all that because if you're questioning right now how you would handle a day like that, good. It's introspection at that level that will determine how far you go in business. And whatever comes up for you, it's okay. Understand that not everyone is meant to run an 8, 9, 10 figure company. A lot of you are new here. You're like, I know that's not for me. Hard pass to everything you just said. Cool, no worries. Those of you who are like, okay, that was a lot. I got it. Awesome. Can't wait to talk to you in School of Scaling. So what I like to always make sure is that people are honest with themselves of why they started their company. If it was just to not have a job, well, unless you want to go really slow and never get very far, running a business will require more from you than a job. Being a founder is a psychological gauntlet. You're not just leading a company, you're the North Star, guiding your whole team through challenges. You're also the safety net, catching anything that falls along the way, the seer, predicting what's ahead, especially when there's no clear rules to follow. You're constantly making tough decisions, and you're almost always without a rule book. There's no one to tell you what to do. You have to figure it all out. And there's a lot of people that have a lot of opinions, and some of them are great, and some of them will steer you in the wrong direction. And all of that while you hold space for everyone around you. So it's an immense responsibility, but also the greatest experience that you could go through if you're truly committed. All right, so let's dive into why simply adding more people isn't always the solution. So most people think that they can just hire help and that those people will solve all their problems, but that's generally not true for a few reasons. So without a clear structure for delegation, more people only multiplies existing and new chaos. So not only will you find yourself still doing probably as much as you were doing previously, but now you're also managing and delegating, which is not a skill that most people have, but one that you can learn. Right. So the good news is that there is a way out, but it's not pushing harder, grinding more. It's about creating a system that provides clarity to both you, your team, and your whole business. So think about your business in terms of gears and levers, all that coordinate together. Okay. So when we say system, that's kind of the image that I want you guys to have in mind. So it's possible to structure a business in a way that operates just as smoothly as an actual physical machine, but you have humans to account for, which is always a fun factor. So it's not as straightforward as a Zapier automation. Okay. So when you first start a business, you do need to start with a focus on sales and marketing. If you aren't making money, you just have a hobby. You do need money to sustain your growth, but just having more money come in will not solve all your problems. Great sales skills definitely make life easier, but without operations, it's like having a bucket that you're great at putting water in, but your bucket's full of holes that keep getting bigger the more water you put in the bucket. Okay. So we're gonna dig more into that later. Great sales skill and hustle. If you're really good, it might get you to 6 figures, maybe even 7, but many of you won't even be able to get that far. And I promise you won't scale further without real systems. So not only that, whatever you do manage to build, it's at risk of crashing faster than you realize unless you implement systems to put your business on a solid foundation. So not to mention the experience of burnout that you'll get to be best friends with if you take that route. All right, so I want to take a moment to reflect on where you're feeling any pressure right now or any stress that's coming up. So do me a favor and put some thoughts in the chat. By the way, I have a few of my team with us today, so you may see some of them replying to your comments if you're here with us live. So specifically put in the chat biggest things that stress you out about being a founder and what you think would solve this stress for you. Okay, so I'm gonna continue, but teams can reply to you in the chat and go ahead and throw those in there. Would love to see what you guys have to say. And by the way, so this is going to be, I can ask you a bunch of stuff in the chat as we go along. There should be some questions for Q&A at the end. But make sure to ask in the chat just to make sure we don't run out of time. So a lot of people think that better tech tools will solve all their answers. So some people think it's people, some people think tech, something else besides me as a founder is totally going to solve all my problems. Not the case. So some people say, screw ClickFunnels, switch to high level. But the reality is that if you don't implement real systems into your business, it doesn't matter what tech you're using. Okay, so what is the real fix? What every successful business that has scaled and proven sustainability has a business operating system. So before I say what a business operating system is, would love to see in the chat who you guys say yes or no if you've ever heard of what a business operating system is. Bonus points if you can actually name one. So I'll have my team keep track of anyone who actually can name a business operating system without cheating. All right, so a business operating system, it's not software, it's not SOPs. Your operating system is a blueprint, the skeleton, the playbook. It's how you take what's in your brain, your ideas, your vision, and make it run without you. Full definition of business operating system is a practical framework of methods and practices that help you manage your business effectively, align your team, and consistently move towards your business goals. It's not software, but it does include how you use your optimal tech stack. So this is essentially a framework for maintaining sanity within your business. So most people think that they have a time problem, but I promise you actually have a systems problem in most cases. So if everything still depends on you, your business does not have a fully implemented operating system. Once you have a real system, then your system does the work and can do the heavy lifting for you. So an operating system is the difference between a business that grows with you and one that collapses on top of you, especially as you scale. So the early people in this group, so you may be like, I don't need all this, everything's just fine. If you don't have a real business operating system, this will catch up to you. So anyone who's doing at least 6 figures, especially anyone who's doing 7+, we'll love to hear specifically from you in the chat and any bottlenecks that you're seeing at that stage. All right, so these quotes here highlight this well. So take it from people who hopefully you guys have heard of. So if you're doing $10 tasks all day, don't be surprised when you have a $10 business. Alex Hermosi. If you don't build a system, you become the system. Cody Sanchez. You will never out-execute your lack of clarity. Leila Hermosi. And being busy is a form of laziness, lazy thinking, and indiscriminate action. Alex Hermosi. If you don't know who any of these people are, I know I repeated Alex twice, but it's got some good stuff. Definitely recommend following their a lot of things that they have to say. So the catch-22 is that the reason you need a system is the same reason you don't have time to build one. So you end up keep repeating yourself, rebuilding, reinventing the wheel every quarter. But if you never stop to build your system, you'll always be in reaction mode. So this workshop is your awareness check to finally say, I'm done operating like that. Right. Last year I like to check before we get into some action steps, but this one's really important and it's something too many business owners don't prepare for. So I call it the got hit by a bus rule. So it's a bit blunt, but that's intentional. Because what this means is that any one of us could get into an accident this afternoon, something that was not expected, no warning, and you're totally out of commission. So you or anyone on your team, there's so many horror stories of people being unscrupulous, holding assets hostage, and all sorts of just business partnerships going wrong. But what about when everyone did have the best intentions, everything else went right, but life happened and something unexpected to someone else or to you? What happens to your business? If you don't have a backup plan for all essential actions within your business that you could plug in on a moment's notice, you're at risk and your operations are not complete. So the key takeaway here is to build a system that ensures your business can operate smoothly, even in your absence. This is not about surrendering control, but about empowering your team and ensuring stability. So these are all questions for you guys to sit on. Okay, so you can answer them in the chat if you want. If anyone wants to call themselves out, go ahead, but definitely take a screenshot of this and make sure this is something you sit on as you grow your business. So think about it this way. You can't fly a plane with no dashboard, right? Or a car with the windshield blocked out, no mirrors or speedometer. That'd be really stressful, wouldn't it? So why would you do that in your business? Chaos doesn't mean that you suck at running a business. It means that you don't have data or structure telling you where the problems are. So I want to hear this in the chat. Any fires that you're always the one to fix, bottlenecks that no one else seems to be able to handle besides you, things that you repeat over and over, even though they should be delegated, anything that you know that you're aware of that's hurting your growth, delivery, or sanity. So if anything that's coming up for you there, throw that in the chat. And if you're a solopreneur, then put any other bottlenecks that are coming up for you, things that you wish you could delegate. Okay, so hopefully you guys get it by now. Systems solve everything, just about. So, but what does that mean more specifically? There's a lot of operating systems out there. EOS is one of the most commonly known ones. So I'm not looking at the chat just for the record, so I don't know if anyone put that in the chat. But other ones are Empire, Clockwork. There's so many of them out there. So they all have pros, they all have limitations. But one thing that always kept me up at night was that no other operating system out there was truly scalable from solopreneur to enterprise and industry agnostic. I also believe that a good operating system should be diagnostic, that it should tell you what's going wrong, why, and what to do about it. So just like the vehicle dashboard we just went over, that should be able to tell you all those same things about your business. So I decided to build one that could do all of this that I call the 5-engine operating system. I'm not going to go into the weeds on this, but I'm going to cover a few key things that help added a lot of clarity for our business, our clients, and I hope for you as well. So a 5-engine operating system, it's called that because Well, there's 5 engines. What can I say? I'm not very creative with names. Doesn't matter if you're a solopreneur wearing all the hats or an enterprise company with 35 departments and 3,000 employees, it's still 5 engines. First one is revenue. This is the lifeblood of any organization focusing on generating income. Then you have the brand engine. It's about how the world perceives you, your identity, reputation, market position. It's crucial to make sure that not just known, but known for the right reasons. Then there's client success. It's essential to keep your client satisfied, ensure they're achieving their desired outcome. Happy clients lead to repeat business and referrals. Operations engine. This is where all the magic happens behind the scenes, ensuring everything runs smoothly and efficiently. Lots of little things like tech and admin also wrap up under here as well. Finally, the leadership engine. This engine drives the vision and empowers the team. Strong leadership sets the tone and direction for all the other engines. So anything that you wrote down earlier, as far as any bottlenecks, stress points, things like that, now put in the chat what engine you would put it under. So go ahead and share that in the chat. You can look at the slide for a cheat sheet, but I promise every problem, fire, or bottleneck lives somewhere inside one of these 5 engines. If you're not sure which one, go ahead and say what your biggest struggle is, and my team will help you in the chat to see if we can figure out what engine it is. So once you see it, you'll understand it's not just what's breaking, but why and what to do about them. So if revenue is a struggle, obviously that's revenue engine. No one knows who we are. Okay, that's brand engine. Client fulfillment is a nightmare. Client success, things keep slipping through the cracks. People often think that these are other things, but so under operations, everything's always on my plate, or you have to repeat yourself all the time. Anything in that direction is going to be leadership. As you share, notice themes that emerge. It's likely that you'll see patterns that align with what we've discussed. So thanks for everyone who's sharing in the chat. It's only once you acknowledge things that you're actually able to fix them. Reminder from Alex Hormozi, you don't rise to the level of your ambition, you fall to the level of your systems. Don't actually know if he's the very first person to say that. I feel like that's said all the time. But many people often dream big, but it's our systems that determine how far we go. So before we dive deeper into each engine, I also want to help everyone get clear on a few stages of business and the different areas of focus that take place at each one of them. Just a reminder, if anyone's stressed out right now, a lot of people get stressed out with operations. You're not alone. Every business goes through chaos before they get successful. So one big key to see how far you're going to go in business, if you're really cut out to be an entrepreneur, is your ability to really have tenacity and not freak out about these kinds of things and really face it head on, regardless of your level of expertise or understanding with what we're going over today. So this is just a quick little thing here, something Cody Sanchez talks about a lot, but it's also just a natural progression. In survival stage, this is going to be from start to about 100K. So things are mostly you. This phase is all about being scrappy. That needs to be your superpower. You might have some VAs helping you part-time, but you're wearing all the hats. Your biggest constraint in this phase is time. There just don't seem to be enough hours in the day. Systems will still help at this phase as well. Your focus is to make enough money to survive and a little bit more on top to reinvest back into your business. In stability from 100K to 500, this is where you hire some generalists, people who can do a little bit of everything and help take things off your plate. Here, the constraint shifts to clarity, what needs to happen, by whom and when. Here's where systems really kick into the next year. And then in scaling from 500K to 1 mil, this is where you bring in specialists, people who are excellent at one thing, operators who can help manage others. Now your constraint is capacity. Can your people and systems handle the growth? It's always going to be a system thing more and more as you grow. All right. So in short, survival world has stability, build the systems and roles, scaling your transition to have the business run without you. So those are your intentions at those stages. So which stage are you in? Would love to hear in the chat. And why you believe you're in that stage, and if there's anything that you feel is holding you back from getting to the next one, or if you don't want to get to the next one. Some people are totally fine just doing 100K. Other people, that's just the beginning stage. All right, so now we're going to dive deeper into the 5 engines. I want to point out that no one is great at all 5. You will scale faster if you identify where your weak spots are and hire someone to lead in those areas. All right. So the first one is the revenue engine. So this is essentially the oxygen of your business. This is critical. If you don't have money in your business, you can't solve anything. So this is always ideal to get up and running first. Now, one other thing about each engine, each has a governing law and 5 drivers. Excuse me. There's 5 specific drivers for each engine, each one creating a predictable outcome. The governing law for revenue engine is stack revenue drivers until profitable growth becomes unstoppable. This law rules the flywheel for the revenue engine, which creates predictable offers, predictable leads generating, predictable sales conversion, predictable revenue collected, and predictable cash flow. This is the engine you want to launch first, but you'll have to keep pumping everything here without brand engine and everything else to follow. All right, so the brand engine. This is the bridge between invisibility and influence. This shows how your market perceives your value. The governing law here is build trust until your authority pulls the market towards you. Who wants to have their business be a magnet, where you're not having to go out hunting all the time, but you attract people into you? This is all things in the brand engine. Reminder that the drivers, whatever drives the success of each engine, is what creates the predictable flywheel for each engine. So here, that's market positioning, social proof, authority, audience, and assets. Brand reputation is the leverage that compounds over time, becoming a powerful multiplier for visibility. Here, I want you to ask, how do people actually know about you? More importantly, what is it that they know? Consider whether their perception aligns with what you want them to know and feel about you. Think about your business as a story being told, both by you and those who experience it. Are you in control of that narrative? Do you consistently communicate who you are and what you represent? These questions are crucial in shaping your brand's identity and reputation. All right, client success engine. So program and product are synonymous depending on your business type. The governing law here is deliver so well, they never want to leave. This engine makes sure you have predictable program or product experience, client onboarding, fulfillment execution, so all your clients say the same thing, increasing retention. Make sure you set up your clients for early wins and consistent experience. It does not matter what kind of business you are, there's still an aspect of these that are still at play. Just might look very different depending on what kind of business you have. So take a moment to reflect on a client you lost, someone who you shouldn't have lost. What went wrong? Was it the onboarding process, the delivery, or maybe the communication? Or do you even know? If you don't know, that's an answer too. And that's important to dig into. So we'd love to hear those answers in the chat. All right, so now the revenue option. You think this is my favorite because of the topic here, but it's actually my second. The governing law here is optimize until friction disappears. And the operators on the call might just have a wave of ease wash over them with that sentence. Anybody who you're resonating most with, whatever the governing law is, that's probably an engine that you have a superpower in potentially. If you're like, what are you talking about? Then that's probably not the engine that you have the biggest strength in. So a lot falls under this engine as you grow, but everything always falls under the same drivers, which for operations engine is process, tech stack, team efficiency, resource management, and risk management. Success with these drivers creates predictable execution, systems, capacity, resources, and protection. Remember, it's not about the tools we have, it's how everything flows together. I also want to point out something with operations, that your engines are not things that operate in a silo. Each engine connects to other engines. Specifically with operations, it powers the performance of every other engine. If operations is weak, revenue stalls because follow-up and fulfillment break. Brand feels scattered because execution doesn't match positioning. Client success suffers because delivery is inconsistent. Leadership gets overwhelmed trying to triage everything manually. When ops does work, the whole business breathes. When it doesn't, everything feels like pushing a broken cart uphill. So go ahead and share in the chat anything that's coming up for you, any specific friction points that you've tolerated for too long because you didn't want to or didn't know how to deal with it. We'd love to hear those things from you guys. And bonus points if you can name what engine it was impacting. People often let small issues persist, thinking they'll resolve themselves or fearing the effort required to address them. But by addressing these friction points is crucial for smoother business, which always comes back to financial impact one way or another. So if you think you don't have the finances to solve your operations, it's just like with your health. Don't pay attention to it, and it's going to bite you one way or another if you let it go on for too long. All right, so the fifth engine, this one's actually my favorite, and as a founder, it should be yours as well. The governing law here is to develop until leaders at every level create more leaders. This engine is all about your vision, human development, culture, org chart, and greater impact. Who are the people in your business, and how are you as a leader creating a business that people want to be a part of? Your core values live in this engine. Curious in the chat who does or does not have core values written for the business. If you have them, put them in the chat. Great time to promote what it is that you stand for. I want to mention here that core values are a part of your business operating system and are not just nice words that you put on a wall or a website, but actual values that should be seen and felt throughout your entire business by your clients, your team, your community. They're actually how you make decisions. When we do operational overhauls for companies, myself as our company, this is always the first thing that we look at as these shape everything else. So I'm just going to put ours here on the slide so that you can see it just as an example. So for us, that's uncompromising integrity. We uphold the highest standards of honesty and ethical behavior, delivering on our promises and taking full responsibility for our actions. Radical transparency. We're committed to open and clear communication, sharing the full picture, the good, the bad, the ugly, with our clients, team members, and partners to foster trust and collaboration. Purpose-driven passion. We bring energy and enthusiasm to everything we do, driven by a deep love for helping others succeed and grow, fostering both personal and professional development. Compassionate humanity. We prioritize empathy and compassion, recognizing the human element in every interaction and working to uplift both individuals and the communities we serve. We challenge, disruptive innovation. We challenge the status quo with bold, creative, and forward-thinking solutions, setting new standards of excellence and continuously striving to do business better. So that's as an example. Feel free to take inspiration from those. If you need any help with core values, go ahead and ask that in the chat. We'll connect with you. We'll drop a link in there for you to connect with us more and see if we can give you some support for that. All right, so hopefully now you're more clear on the 5 different engines. But one more thing I want to clarify here. Every seat on your team falls somewhere in each engine. The more seats you have in an engine, the stronger it is, but no amount of seats make up for an engine lead. Someone strong enough in that engine to actually drive it, to make decisions without you or with very little of you. You also want one person driving each engine. The sooner you have this, the better. If you have one solid person driving each engine and you're a 5-person team, you will outshine somebody with a 20-person team and no one clearly or qualified to run each engine. Okay. I want to make sure that part's really, really clear. You can absolutely outperform a 20-person team with 5 if they're strategically placed. And identifying who you want in each of those seats and engine leads is always on you as the founder. Until you grow big enough to hire a CEO, because yes, if you scale to 9 figures plus, you will probably want to hire a CEO instead of yourself. That's probably not a single person on this call today. If it is, we'd love to hear from you. But until then, you are in charge of the leadership engine. You set the cadence here, and you are the ship captain that guides every other engine's success. Leadership is not about filling the roles. It's about steering the ship with clarity and purpose. Right, so I just want to talk about burnout. This is something that's talked about often when it comes to running a business. I'm sharing the foundations, the 5 engines with you to show you the roadmap on how to minimize burnout. Because burnout doesn't come from working too hard. It comes from working too hard on things that don't light you up. Once you're clear on your own strengths and where you most need support, the sooner you get yourself out of being drained by things you shouldn't be doing. Anyone who knows Eddie Wilson, he runs an operating system called Empire, among many other businesses, and he calls the path to reaching your first $1 million perseverance, because that's exactly what it takes. You want to be there as little time as possible to not burn out. All right, so you're clear on the engines and the areas you need to find support in to strengthen your business machine. Before you go out and start hiring, I want to clear up a few more things. First, I cannot stress this enough. Hiring people without being clear on what you want from them and communicating that both in writing and training processes will always cause you more headache, even when you find great people. If you don't have systems in place, if you manage to attract great people, you will not keep them without having real systems. Also, making sure someone knows what success in that position means and that you're actually giving them what they need to be successful. When you're just starting, you're going to bring on people who do a lot of things, but do not spread your team too thin, having them do a bunch of things that are not in their superpower. Okay, so just a reminder back to this slide for what types of hires you're looking for at each stage. Most people here on this call are probably looking for generalists. In other words, a Swiss Army knife who wears a lot of hats. Do yourself and them a favor. Just because someone appears to be able to do a lot of things doesn't mean they should. So part of the 5-engine operating system created a tool called the fuel versus friction matrix, where we identify all types of areas spread out over each engine and drivers for what skill set lights someone up versus what drives them down. So each member of the team logs activity as either thrive, capable, draining, or breakdown. That's what this matrix showcases. So thrive means that you could do this all day long. It energizes you. Capable means that you have impressive or decent skill set here, but you don't have any passion for it. Draining, this means that you avoid that activity as much as possible. It might have some anxiety over it, but technically capable of it in a pinch. Breakdown, these are things that you hate, totally stress you out, or you feel totally lost, or you cannot do it at all to save your life. So take a screenshot here. This is an activity that you can do on your own and list any activities underneath it, both with you and your team, that often provide a lot of clarity. Having team members fill this out is usually illuminating and helps clarify why some aspects of how someone's showing up might not be meeting expectations or why there's certain stress points. One more thing on this list on the right, I added one more note there to mention role descriptions. So this is something that I don't care how big or small your company is, you need to have this for everyone on your team. In the 5-engine operating system, we have a very specific role description template that covers a lot of things and ties team members' roles to multiple other aspects of the operating system. Something here is better than nothing. Please always put things in writing for the sake of your team. Otherwise, they're going to just be confused and everyone's going to be stressed. So part of our template is that we identify someone's superpower versus what we call secondary or tertiary expectations. Your superpower is anything that they marked on that fuel versus friction matrix as thrive. Secondary expectations are things that they're still expected to do, but are probably marked as capable on that matrix. Tertiary things might be marked as draining, but are only expected of them occasionally or on a temporary basis while you look for someone else to fill that need. So breaking certain expectations down into those different buckets, it gives clarity both to the team member that they're only expected to do those things every once in a while or on a temporary basis, so they don't get stressed out by it, and also tells you or leadership, hey, we need to get this person out of their tertiary as soon as possible and get someone else filling that need. One other aspect that we cover here is what actions they do. So we break these down into own versus lead versus support. This is something that we'll dive more into with anyone who's part of School of Scaling. But for now, I'll just say that if somebody owns something, they're responsible for creating it from scratch, including the idea. No one told them to go do a thing. Leading means that they oversee its execution. Support means they're actually doing the execution. So hopefully that gives some clarity to people on a few things. So also hopefully this planted some good seeds for next time you guys are looking to hire. All right, another question prompt for you guys in the chat. Would love to hear what you feel your biggest strengths are. Bonus points if you can pin it to an engine that you feel you're strongest with. Also, I'd love part 2 is I want to hear one thing that you wish you could just wave a magic wand and change it in your business. Would love to hear what both of these things are for you guys. So your strength and then what magical wand, what's one thing you would change about your business? All right, so if you don't know which of the engines are your biggest strengths, or even if you do, but you want to know the main complementary support that you need to give your business a strong boost of support, we have a free resource here to help. So my teams will put in the chat the link here for those who are on this live. The link is businessdonebetter.co/founderschecklist. Okay, businessdonebetter.co/founderschecklist. That's .co, not .com. All right, so we have one more section for you guys today. That's tech. So we're not going to do any deep dives into tech, just going over some basics and then how to keep it simple and cost effective. So hopefully this section here can get some people some quick wins. And then we should have some time here, and I'll be able to open up for Q&A at the end. All right, so to kick us off, I want everyone to think through these questions. What tools are you paying for right now? Are they needed? Have you proven product market fit yet? For those of you who don't understand what I mean by that last part, product market fit, I mean, have you proven that people want to buy what it is that you're selling? So feel free to answer any of those questions in the chat. I'd love to hear what tech stack people are using, but totally feel free to call yourself out if you have not proven product market fit. You're just in concept phase, but concept if that's the case. If you don't have any clients who were not friends or family before they became your client, you have not proven product market fit. This is always the first step before putting any money into a business concept. If you don't know, thank you. Awesome. All right, so if you don't know that people will buy what you need, your idea might not be as good as you think. Even if you think you're wrong, or sorry, you think that they're wrong and your idea is life-changing, if you can't convince other people of that to an extent that they will pay you money, don't move forward until you bridge that gap, or you will never see an ROI in your business. I see so many people just thinking everything they've got, their whole life savings, risking everything for something that they haven't truly proven product market fit, and it can really ruin people's lives. So please don't make that mistake, and always do product market fit first. If that's something that you're like, cool, got it, you totally need some support there. There's a book called The Mom Test. That's something I don't have a slide on here for it, but if you want to just go on Amazon, it's like $15. If there was one book that I would say every founder should start with, it's called The Mom Test. That will make sure that you actually have a business concept to kick off. All right, so for those of you who have proven product market fit, but you're still just beginning, start simple. You do not need to spend a lot of money on tech. You don't care what someone says, unless you like spending money on things long before you need them, at least, if that's the case, if you just love spending money on things, then totally identify yourself in the chat. I'm sure there's tons of people who want to sell things to you. Mostly kidding. We don't take many people's money if we think that they're making a mistake, and it's not what they need at the time. Okay, so that's something where your core values come into play, where uncompromising integrity is one of ours, and radical transparency, where we're very direct with someone if what we have to offer isn't going to move the needle that they want moved. Okay, so I love working with founders who they feel the same and always operate from a place of integrity on that. But back to starting simple. When you're just starting out, it's easy to get overwhelmed by all the tools available, but really all you need to start a business are the basics. Google Drive, Google Sheets, Gmail with your domain. Side note on domains, do not do a business with a Gmail email. I repeat, do not do a business, anything business related with anything except for a domain email, meaning something at yourdomain.com. So not only will you be taken more seriously if you always use a domain email, if you use a domain email, but if you don't, you will also find yourself putting a lot of work only for none of your emails to hit people's inboxes. Okay, so domain emails only when you're running a business. All right, once you are ready for tech, we're going to cover the core 4 of tech essentials for your business. So file repository, communications platform, project management, and CRM. So we're going to run through all these individually here. All right, file management repository. This is the first thing to have because you can just start with a basic Google Drive account, even when it's just you and your business. Think of this like your digital filing cabinet. It's essential to have one place where all your files are stored and are easily accessible to your team. Once you do move to a team, make sure to use shared drive versus regular. So that's going to be really helpful to make sure everything is easily shareable throughout your team. But everything should go here, whether it's spreadsheets, PDFs, multimedia files. Having them all in one place simplifies your work life and makes it easier once you start adding people onto your team. So you can totally use other things besides Google Drive. That's just my personal pick. Okay, next is internal communication. When it's just you don't have to worry about anything here. But as soon as you add one other person to your team, you need to have a centralized place for communication. Please, and I can't stress this enough, do not be using text messaging emails to communicate with your team as a regular platform. I see so many businesses doing this. Not only are you not consolidating things in a place that's actually scalable where you can add other team members to it, it's hard to find things get lost really easily, and you're also not respecting personal work-life balance of other people on your team. Okay, so when you actually do start growing a team, Slack has a monopoly where they're really the only platform once you have a fully fledged business. But with a couple person team, there are plenty of other tools. Basecamp is one of them where it's communication and a bunch of other things. And other things as well that have internal communication that works just fine as long as it's a work-specific platform. Okay, so WhatsApp does not count either. Slack is also free if you're just using it within your own team and for simple purposes. With project management, it's something that you do not need until you have a full team doing regular tasks. With a good project management tool, you can track time, status of tasks, and so much more. But if you're under 3 people, then this may not yet be needed. However, once you do start adding people to your team, this is absolutely a necessity for clarity on execution, reporting, and it's also great leverage for new hire training and other internal items like SOPs, standard operating procedures. For those of you who don't know that term, very critical to make sure that you have SOPs to standardize processes in your business. So we're massive advocates of ClickUp, which I want to emphasize is not a beginner project management tool. Through our operations program, we support people to get ClickUp implemented properly. But for people who are new with operations and doing it on your own, ClickUp is very overwhelming and not the place to start with unless you're working with someone who's going to set it up for you. I do like ClickUp because you can scale with it, and they have great price points. You can do a lot with just guest seats where you're not paying for them, but more than any other project management I've seen. If you're looking for a beginner project management tool, Monday.com is great. Just know that with most businesses, you will hit limitations and you will need to leave it eventually if you are looking to scale. If not, just pick something that fits your needs and get married to it. That's totally fine. But if you are looking to scale, you will need to eventually move into something more robust like ClickUp unless you plan on remaining small. All right, so 4 is CRM software. So CRM stands for Customer Relations Management System. So this one we're going to do a little bit deeper dive in before we talk recommended platforms because there are so many options for CRMs here, and I want to get a few essentials clear. So CRM software at a basic level helps you manage your interactions with customers and potential clients efficiently. It acts as a central hub for all of your customer-related information, making it easily accessible and manageable to you and your team. All right, so I also want to pause for a moment and mention that there are actually a bunch of other things that you do need for your business tech stack as well. So in addition to contact management, you also need websites and funnels to share your services, email newsletters, and SMS marketing, potentially to communicate with your clients and leads, calendar scheduling tools, something that takes payment that's not Venmo or Cash App. Those are not business payment tools. Course builder if you're a coach, automation to tie everything together and make them function properly. So these next few slides I'm just going to run through pretty quickly as I want to get through where you guys can ask questions and I can answer some things live at the end here with remaining time. But for email platforms, there are tons of options. And then if you're totally lost on what email platform to use, go ahead and say email in the chat. And then there's also your website. Okay, tons of options here. In short, you have WordPress and everything else. There are very few businesses who should be on WordPress. I want to shortcut anyone from getting swindled into things here if I can prevent it. If you believe that you should be using WordPress, please comment WordPress in the chat, because for most businesses, this is not necessary and just causes you more headache, expenses, and security holes. In short, if you have a WordPress site, you must have somebody regularly maintaining it, updating plugins, doing security updates, etc. And you also pay for separate hosting. Everything else that's not WordPress for websites has what we call a front-end builder, meaning you can technically edit yourself and you're not paying for third-party hosting. Okay, so I know this created more questions than answers. And then also there's course builders, all you coaches out there, Kajabi, School, Kartra, tons more options here as well. So many different things for your tech stack. How do you know which one to pick? And then you also have the more platforms you have, the more you have to use tools like Zapier to super glue them all together as well, which is just another cost and headache. It's not easy deciding the right fit for your tech stack, especially when you're trying to minimize costs as well. This creates what we call a tool gap. So many tools, too many choices, decision overload. So questions are coming up. How much will it cost? How do they all connect to each other? Because some platforms are not integration friendly. That's something you always have to know before going in. What about how long it takes to get it set up? How long will business be on pause to get everything set up? Also, most founders aren't tech wizards, so now you're just really having a party. Okay, so now that we've totally overwhelmed you with more questions, don't worry, I promise I'm going to answer these. Not only do I want to jump into a platform that's, now I want to jump into a platform that, in all my years in business systems, I think is the best and truly only all-in-one platform out there. So High Level, this is something that most people these days are familiar with High Level, as it has now officially been ranked the #1 marketing automation software. But little trick for those who are newer to the High Level conversation, the company is High Level, but when they're first starting out, they couldn't get the domain highlevel.com, so they got gohighlevel.com. So technically, the correct way to refer to High Level is High Level or GHL. So anyone who refers to it audibly as Go High Level probably hasn't been using it since the beginning. So also I share that also just to kind of connect some dots for anybody who's struggling with how to get a domain for your business. You want to have it be as close to your business name as possible. But if you need to be a little bit creative, then you can always do something like this. Cause a little bit confusion with High Level, but they're now a multi-9-figure company, so clearly it can work out just fine. All right, so why do we recommend High Level? Let's talk about what makes this all-in-one solution truly stand out. So remember that list we shared earlier of all the things that you need for your business tech stack. So High Level not only does all of these, but they do most of them very well. Unlimited sites, forms, surveys, quizzes, newsletters, text messages, calendars, connect any payment processor, just about build your course, post your community, create affiliate links, post to social, see tons of reporting, lots of AI, including tricks with MCP and AI agents for those of you out there who know what that means. And it's one of the best automation builders on the market as well. So no system is the best at everything, and lots of systems out there always creating new features to get you more integrated onto their platform. That means that every platform is one thing as a primary first, and then anything else is a secondary. Kajabi, for example, is a course builder first, versus High Level is a CRM first, and is truly an industry leader there, but it's also actually really great at most other things. High Level is also very integration friendly, which is very, very important. Meaning if you want to keep other platforms like School or whatever other things you love, no problem, High Level connects very easily. But there's a little bit deeper perspective that I always encourage founders to look at when it comes to tech stack that their whole business is dependent on. I cannot stress this enough. I've seen so many people get in trouble for this, or have their business get in trouble for it when things go sideways. When it comes to tech, your core 4 are critical to think all the way through because they're a pain to switch once you're integrated. When your business is relying on another company, you need to make sure that company is solid. So always look at a company's metrics, like how long have they been around? Do they have any funding rounds? How many employees do they have? What's their valuation? How fast do they iterate when they make changes and implement new things? With High Level, they've been around since 2019. They're a multi-9-figure company. Thought they were going to hit unicorn status. They still might, but I think they might miss their window there. But it's just under $1 billion value. Unicorn status, for those of you who don't know, is $1 billion valuation in under 7 years. High Level's cutting it a little bit close, but they have around 3,000 staff, and they iterate faster than any other company I've ever seen in the industry. That means if it makes sense to do, they will do it. And if it needs to be fixed, they will fix it quickly. The worst is if you run into limitations or bugs and a company is not able or willing to fix it fast enough. So that's trouble that you want to avoid where you can. So with small tech companies, I see people who are working with tech companies that and they only have a 100-person team. 100-person team for a tech company is small. Okay, anything under that scares me. And if they haven't had any funding rounds, sometimes there's companies who do okay with that, but it means that they're going to have limitations where they're not going to be able to fix things well or fast enough. And then if something you have something that you need fixed or changed with the tech stack that you're relying on for your business, then you're bottlenecked. Okay, so hopefully someone has some good takeaways there and apply this knowledge to every tech stack that you are reliant on as a business. Okay. Also, really important detail is that High Level is not designed to work with the end business owner. If you are a business owner who is not looking to resell CRM software as your company's primary focus, please do not work with High Level direct. I see so many people positioning this wrong, and it drives me bananas. I've been working with High Level for over 5.5 years. I consult with over 8 different department heads. I've helped edit wireframes. I'm very involved in the High Level community. I see this all the time. This is not High Level's how they're designed as a company. Okay. High Level is very unique in this way, where they're designed to work with agency owners to white label them. This is a very unique business model, but High Level has totally blown up, and a lot of people know what they are. So I want to make sure that people don't get themselves into a pickle going the wrong direction here. Okay, so that means that you should find an agency who works with High Level, who specializes in your niche. High Level is very flexible, so that means that they do work with most businesses. There are certain CRMs that are industry specific. That is something that you could still work with High Level, and also something else that's industry specific. If you work with an agency that's in your niche, they've already figured out how to bridge those things. So real estate agents or insurance or anything in that direction that's highly specific and regulated, especially, then those are things that working with an agency who's in that niche, they've already figured out all of those things to really help shortcut that onboarding process for you. So how do you pick the right High Level agency? There's things to always look for to make sure an agency is the right fit for you. First, try to find an agency that specializes in your niche of business. This ensures they understand your specific needs and challenges, and ideally already have done the heavy lifting on creating solutions that specifically address what you need without you paying an arm and a leg for them. Salesforce is always my favorite extreme example. So Salesforce is one of the biggest CRMs in the industry, multi-billion-dollar company. So that's something that's more for enterprise. So I don't think anyone on this call should possibly be using Salesforce. If you are, please change that immediately. I have met small businesses that do solopreneur ones that do Salesforce. Please don't do that. Salesforce, just as an example, is a guarantee of 3-month learning curve and tens of thousands of dollars for setup fees for just their essential implementation. Versus agencies who use High Level, sometimes there may still be a setup fee, or sometimes extensive customization is just included when you sign up for a regular and reasonable monthly fee. Next, consider the level of support offered by the agency. At a minimum, look for 24/7 chat support, tutorials, guided tours. These resources can be invaluable, especially when you're just getting started. But overall onboarding is where things are really crucial. Seek agencies offering handheld onboarding and support, also with phone and email setup. Regarding phone and email regulations, those seem to change almost every quarter for the last couple of years. High Level Direct will not adequately support you here, and a lot of agency owners don't know what they're doing here either. So please, please, please make sure you do due diligence there. That is the responsibility of the agency owner, but make sure that they know what they're doing here, or you could be at risk for very expensive lawsuits that are becoming more and more popular these days. So if you think, oh, there's no way that'll ever happen to me, it's just a matter of time. These things are cracking down. I see this happening in every single area. So please do make sure you are aware of all regulations for email and phone. Good thing on the consumer side is those things cracking down means hopefully we will all get less spam. But as a business owner, you do need to be very careful. Last, make sure you're getting access to all the features that High Level has to offer, and ask about any other benefits the agency might be able to offer that could be helpful to you. The right agency should feel like a partner in your success and not break the bank. So yes, we do have our own High Level agency. So specifically for all coaches, we recommend CRM Done Better. Full transparency, yes, that is my company. We of course have everything that we just went over. We get coaches up and running as soon as day one. All the essentials built out for you. Tons of support, including daily office hours, with no setup fee for $199 for the whole system. So my team will drop that link in the chat. For those watching the replay, you can learn more at crmdonebetter.com. But I'm not here for any hard sales. I just want to give service to make sure each of you makes good decisions when it comes to your operations and tech stack for your businesses. So if there's so many people using High Level, I wanted to make sure I really cover that because I see so many people going in the wrong direction and really being turned off by something that actually will help them significantly in their business. So hopefully I bridged a few gaps here with some of you on this call. So there's many of you who are in the chat and more watching the live. So do me a favor, if anyone has any questions on who the right High Level agency is for you, or if you should be using High Level at all, we'd love to help you out there. So go to businessdonebetter.co/GHL in the notes section on that contact form. Put what your current situation is with High Level and what questions you have, and we'll point you in the right directions. No strings attached. It's just a personal pet peeve of mine when people go in the wrong direction here. So want to make sure we get those things sorted out. All right. So we've covered a lot today. So let's take a moment to just recap what we've explored. We discussed why hustle often leads to chaos instead of freedom. We went through the 5 engines that power every successful business, key hiring tips, uncovering your strengths with the founder's checklist. Again, that link was businessdonebetter.co/founders checklist, core 4 tech tools for your business, and how to have a successful implementation with High Level CRM in your business. Operations, it covers so much more than we touched on today. It can be a lot, but it does not have to be overwhelming. Only focus on takeaways from today that move your business forward. The rest, come back to the recording when it's uploaded in the community, and would love to answer further questions for you guys. All right, so again, here's that link for the founder's checklist, as well as more to learn about us at businessdonebetter.co. So I'll be working with the team here at School of Hard Knocks to upload more resources into the school portal shortly. So I am brand new into this community, super excited to connect more with you guys. I will totally be here more often, but since I am new, I don't have a profile set up just yet, but that is in the works. So you can find me there shortly. I am in the school community, so you can find us there, but go ahead and go to businessdonebetter.co. We have a contact form there. So anything that we can be of service for you there, feel free to ask on that contact form. So awesome. Thank you again to School of Hard Knocks team. It has been a pleasure. So I'm going to start taking a look at the chat here. I'm going to stop my share and see. I know we got so much stuff going on here. So cool. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So I'm just going to kind of scan a few things in the chat here, and anything that jumps out, or if someone has a specific question that they want to jump on mic, go ahead and raise your hand with the Zoom button below. So if anyone does raise their hand, I'm happy to call you up and answer any specific questions. Just going to jump to the bottom here. Cool. Awesome. So many comments here. All right. I don't see any hands raised. Let's see. Oh, I see a few. Okay. So I think I didn't see who was first. Was it Gurjeet?
Yes, Gurjeet.
Gurjeet. Sorry. Go ahead.
Hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Hello. Hi. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. All the information was very useful. I have a question. I think it's kind of off topic, but so I'm in like basically background. I'm in IT. Like I recently graduated, and I'm thinking about doing like IT consulting, or going into tech sales. I kind of don't know which way to head. Do you like have any experience with tech sales, or if you can give your thoughts on if you know anything about that?
So let me see if I can understand what it is that you're actually asking. So it sounds like you want to know, should you go into the tech sales or the consulting route?
Right.
So like I want to hear more about what is your real dilemma? What is it that you're really trying to figure out? Like, is it something you also want to pay attention to where do you have skill sets? When it comes to business, pay attention to wherever there's a path of least resistance, especially when you're getting started. So if you have any assets, pathways, connections that help you on either one of those, then I would definitely lean in that direction. Okay. Also, as far as your own skill sets, do you have sales background, for example?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm genuinely like it's easy for me to like talk with people and like do like presentations. So yeah, I just kind of like stuck between if I should start my own stuff or just keep learning new skills in like in my career. So but yeah, what you said makes sense. So thank you.
So advice that I want to give on that one is the time to start a business is when you have a lot of money or on the side.
Right. Yeah.
Don't throw away opportunities unless you have like, and I'm talking like 100K is if you have that to throw at something, well, depending on what it is that you're doing. For a lot of things, 100K is like that's still not even close to enough.
Yeah.
But for a consulting business, you can totally start it with if you have like a large amount of money saved up in bank. You want to make sure that you, however long you think it's going to take you to be financially positive, multiply it by at least 5.
Okay. Write that down.
So if you think it's going to take 1 year, put together a game plan for 5.
Got it.
Okay. So there's so many different variables that go into that. If you have background in sales, what I would do is work for a tech company, leverage your sales skills more. You're always going to need sales skills when you're running a business. So lean into that, save up money, learn more about what it takes to actually run a business, start stuff on the side, and then shift gears when it starts to be natural.
Yeah. That makes sense. Thank you.
Absolutely. Rahul.
Yes. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, awesome. Yeah, Rebecca, thanks so much for giving all this great information today. And actually, I have 2 quick questions. So actually, currently I'm working on like reestablishing my brand and on Instagram. So I was thinking about uploading like daily like business content on there, like whether it's like latest trends of business or could be like about different startups and also general insights into like business and technology. And the other part I'm been working on is like a website for an app I'm looking to launch soon. So just wanted to get your thoughts on both aspects and in terms of like getting the content out there more and using that to gain more credibility. So just want to get if it'd be okay to like share my screen. I can show you what I have so far. Just get a thought. Yeah.
Let's see. I think if you want, I'll give you like a 30-second kind of quickie.
Yeah,
I don't want it to go on too long. I want to get to some other questions, but if you actually, before I have you share your screen, what I'd like to do is have you just reframe your question. So I want to make sure that I understand more specifically what it is that you're actually trying to ask. So like you're putting together content on social, you're putting together a website. There's so many different aspects. For things like that, sounds like you're focused on brand positioning. Have you sold? Like, are you clear on what it is that you're selling? Like what your business is?
Yeah, so like for that, it's basically a connecting booking and music trivia where people can book different talent from across the world, and you can book them for like virtual parties or even in person. And the goal is to help them connect with all these different talents. So and tying VR technology to it later, where people can be real-time events happening right in front of their eyes. So it's going to be called museum, a virtual museum where everything is happening, and it's sort of like putting together like a Facebook, Instagram, TikTok all in one. So that's pretty much the gist of that. And then for my Instagram, since actually I do podcasting as well, as thinking about tying the podcasting aspect and posting different aspects of business onto my Instagram to make it more credible for people out there, because I've been putting out more like personal things. So I think just trying to change that aspect of in terms of the business.
Yeah, always anything that's going to boost your credibility, obviously always with integrity, is always going to be a good thing. You know, podcasting can definitely help that. Also, podcasting helps with networking as well. So making sure that you're tying everything together when it comes to marketing and brand and stuff like that. You definitely want to be leveraging every single platform and avenue out there. So definitely don't restrict yourself on that. Make sure it's all tied together, that you have coherency between everything that you're putting out there. So having a really good brand positioning guide, a game plan for strategy for how you're actually doing that. That's not my specialty at all, but that's definitely I would make sure that you're really clear on that aspect. So what I'd have you do, if you want to go on our website and on our contact form, if you want to drop your link in there with more of your questions, and I'll see if I can get back to you an email. I think that would be more efficient.
Yeah, definitely that'd be great. And just maybe one quick question regarding the CRM. So within the CRM, like, do you have like a portion where, or a section where you can like go and find like people's contacts? Like for example, like if you're finding someone from a specific companies, do you have that accessible, or is like with many contacts, or what, like in terms of the CRM, does it help you also like kind of AI generation, or just trying to get? I missed like part of the call earlier, so I just wanted to get a little bit of an idea.
Yeah, that's okay. And this will be a recording to put in the community, so you can totally go back on it there. So every CRM system it stands for contact relations management, so it should be able to help you with those things. Also, it sounds like I don't know if you're asking specifically like multiple contacts that are all connected to a company. So that's an element that not every CRM system has. High level CRM better does, but that is definitely a good question for those of you who are B2B in a way that you work with multiple people inside a business. So that is something important to ask. Yeah, so happy to answer more. If the team can drop in the CRM better link, that can answer a few more questions for you there as well.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, thanks so much once again.
Awesome. All right, let me check the comments here. Yeah, so as far as Tony Robbins with High Level, so that's something that I do want to just touch on that one really quick. So Alex Hormozi runs School. So School, so you guys are all here today, so School or not uses School. And so School is a great community platform. High Level has something that does everything from a technical component that School does. It's called Go Collab. So Tony Robbins just backed that recently. So that's something that I think it's just a matter of time before Tony Robbins really starts pushing Go Collab, specifically from a platform that you can actually go on and find other communities, just like you do on School or Facebook. So I mean, Alex Hormozi is absolute masterful marketer. So yeah, I think School is great. But just for anybody who's like wondering, should you have a community on School versus Facebook versus Go Collab or something else or something out there? There's lots of different things to ask there. The biggest thing I would ask is where's your community, and also look at trajectories of where things are going. With anything that you're tying your business to, always look at trajectories. So definitely super important to make sure that you don't get stuck behind certain waves of things that are going in the wrong direction. So I'm just checking the mom task made this call worth it. Awesome, glad to hear it. Cool. Any other questions? If someone wants to raise their hand, I'm looking through the chat, and there's just so much here, so I'm trying to find some questions. Appreciate all the awesome comments in here. Submit your questions for here. Looks like my team put it in the chat, but raise your hand here. We got 15 minutes left. Happy to stay on and continue with any Q&A. Otherwise, if it's after the call, go to businessdonebetter.co and fill out our contact page. I'm totally happy to answer any questions there. I got an H. Kauser. And then Kezo Green.
Hi, it's me here. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
I just want to say it was so amazing listening to everything that you're saying. I think what we've been doing is just taking it in, digesting it, and I'm just giving you the big picture, because normally this group is talkative and asks all the questions. And just an FYI, you've given so much. It's like a textbook. The mom test sounds amazing, and especially about this whole. My smaller part of my question is, if anyone, i.e., like myself, has put out product out there, but more for a B2C, and I'm looking for B2B, what is the quickest way to go out there? And basically, I'm sorry I didn't cut in on the first 15, 20 minutes. I couldn't get in. So what is the quickest way to be able to reach out to the right people who are in different sectors and areas, and is there a system to do that? I suppose this is a generic question, and suddenly I go shy. Athen, help me.
No, you're fine. So I think the biggest thing you're asking is, so you said you're B2C, so how do I connect with my audience? So when it comes to like connecting, it doesn't matter if you're B2C or B2B. When you want to connect to your audience, it's a matter of where are they? So do some customer research. Where does your audience live the most? We totally have frameworks to help kind of analyze, how to understand, how to learn where your audience really is. So AI can be really helpful with that. There are totally tools that can help capture that depending on what platform they're on. Flowchat is a tool that's really great for DMs on your personal page. So High Level does connect with your business pages. There are a bunch of other ones that do as well. But when it comes to your personal page, there's less options out there. Flowchat is totally the best. So if my team could grab, let's see, Adriana, if you want to ping Vanessa to grab our Flowchat link to drop that in the chat, or actually Omar and Mateo, actually you guys should have that. So yeah, hopefully my team will drop that in the chat for Flowchat. Does that answer your question, or was a little bit more to it?
It's also about, I'm also less of a technical person. I've got people around me who are quite good, and this is the other thing which I feel I'm quite good at, just meeting people, speaking to people, and it's all about picking up the phone. For me, that's more of a, I'm better at doing that and connecting with people in that way, and I've done it so far with suppliers, but it's more about now it's the B2B. So I'm getting connections, but it's also about the right timing. So I'm learning as I'm going along. So all in good time, I can say, especially being around this group, I think it also helps, and definitely with the right people around me in terms of support. But it's just about the one contact that you need. You just need one good one, and then you can. I feel like not that it'll be a complete easy sale after that, but I know when you put your heart and effort and soul and energy into one, you make sure that item is delivered. So for me, that's all I need. Even for B2C, I can do that, but whereas for B2B, that's where the key part is, and that's where it's easier for me to reach out to people and speak to people. Well, I mean, easier just having a number and just knowing who the best person is. Contacts in a nutshell.
So my background is more in B2B. B2C, I have less background to really give insights on, but there's just so many things. Business owners are always networking, so there's always lots of opportunities to get connections for different things. It sounds like that's a skill set that you have, which is great. If you're a founder and you don't have that skill set, I highly recommend elevating your skill set there. It's something that's just really hard to move forward in business without that. So a lot of people who are on the other side, opposite skill set of you, who are very techy and not very social, that can be a big struggle. But as a founder, it's definitely really necessary, unless you have a co-founder that can kind of complement you that way. But yeah, I would have a referral system. So that's definitely a system that you can put into place. There's somebody named Devin Sizemore. So if you want to fill out a contact form on our page, just put Devin, like want to know more about Devin Sizemore. If you put that in the additional info on our contact page, then that's totally something that we can reach back out to you and connect you with him. He's in our CRM Done Better agency. So there's certain things that we're able to help people as far as putting together referral systems inside of High Level to really leverage that. His systems are the best I've ever seen. Our team has built it out from a tech side. So yeah, so we can make a lot of connections there as well.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I think it was Kezo next, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
Apologies.
yes, Kezo and then Eddie. Thank you.
Sorry, Ethan. Your job, sorry.
No worries. Yeah, Kezo, take it away.
Hey, how's it going? It's nice to meet you. I just had a question about my business, and I just wanted to run it by you to get an idea. So my business idea is about asking deep questions to get people to slow down and reflect. But I just need some advice about how to turn something that's so personal into a scalable business. And like, is there any advice that you have, or do you need more context?
No, don't need more context. So that's a very common thing. So especially like anyone in the coaching industry. So that, I don't know if you like how far along you are on that, but that's the term, whether you use that term or not, it's still a coaching style business. So that's something that we definitely have some ways that we can support. So if you want to fill out anything on our contact page, we can totally get in touch with you and talk more. But in general, as far as having that kind of a business be scalable, the biggest thing that you want to really watch out for is you have to think through your positioning on that. So you have to think through, is it going to be you, Kezo? Are you the face? Are you the brand? Or is it what it is that you're offering that you're going to position? You can do it either way. A personal brand is much easier to push, but it's a lot harder to scale. So you can do it either way. You can start it as a personal brand and then transition it into like your offer versus you as Kezo. So there's different ways to do that, but I would really think through of is it personal, like how much do you want to be the face of things? You can still scale it that way. So I know somebody who did stuff in the coaching industry and she's doing $2 million by her second year, but she's just an absolute beast mixed with a handful of other things, but it is definitely possible. And now she's married, just had a baby. Her baby's like 2 months old and she like took a whole month, like she's like taking plenty of time off and she bought a new fancy house and she's doing great. And she like her face is everything. So it definitely is possible, but you definitely want to think through it the right way. The biggest thing with any founder is to just think through your goals. What is it that you want to accomplish with your business? What does scaling mean to you? A lot of people say scaling, but they're like, yeah, I just want to scale to 150K. Okay, cool. Like if that's your goal, like that's totally doable. If you want to scale to 9 figures, that's going to be a whole different conversation.
Thank you. That's helped. Just a very short follow up then. Which is easier? Is it easier to start personal than the offer, or because would it be more easy to attach to a personal brand because I'll be the face of it?
People want to connect with people. I don't care what anyone tells you about AI and all sorts of stuff. This is what I tell my team all the time. Use the crap out of AI. Just don't let it feel like AI. I think check in with yourself how you feel when you receive things. I think this is the case for a lot of people and will become more and more so as things continue to evolve. Is AI can just shortcut so many different things, but people love feeling connected to people. So when it comes to a personal brand, it's easier. Like I can see you just from a subconscious, energetic perspective. Like I want to be connected with you. You're awesome. You got great vibes, man. Like I want to talk. Like you got a great smile. You got great energy. Like your brand is good. So that's going to be a lot easier to get off the ground. People don't know whatever your offer is, and without your face and energy that people can connect to very quickly, it's not going to be as relatable. So as far as getting off the ground, a personal brand is 1.5 million times easier to start. But just think through where you want to go with it because it can be harder to get yourself out of being so directly involved with stuff.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate the advice.
For sure. I got an Eddie C. Want to take yourself off mute, Eddie?
Okay, I didn't know if Ethan was going to do this. Yeah, I think it's mine. Come on, help me out, man. No, I didn't have any questions. I just want to say thank you for this presentation. Thank you just for being so in detail and just descriptive of what to do, how the systems work, and just every little bit about it. That's really, I didn't really have no questions. I just want to say thank you.
Oh, I appreciate that. I really appreciate that a lot. This is, it's my first presentation in this community, and I wasn't sure exactly, how technical to go. So I kind of wanted to just, cover a lot of broad things. But Jack's been super awesome, and he said I could come back for more talks. So if you guys want to put in the chat of other things you'd like to hear me speak on, things that you want me to deep dive into further, or anything that I didn't talk about at all, that's anything the back end of business. So I don't touch anything sales and marketing front end. Like that's not my skill set at all. That was the biggest struggle for me growing my companies. But anything, team leadership, operations, admin, anything in that tech to some degree. Let's talk about those lots of different topics.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Awesome, absolutely. Thank you, William.
Hi, Rebecca. Nice to meet you. My name is William, and soon it would be my first day of work in China. So right now I'm trying to prepare for a dual system. One is working in China, and the other is trying to set up for going to America again. And I do feel like work is running on me last night. So every time I go to the office, I feel it's so, it's very cooperate, and it asks you to follow and ask you to report, ask everything. And China is a different system with United States, and working here is slowly getting my creativity away. So use this as a motivator. I'm trying to get all my other time off of the 100 hours per month to build my side business, build my system. So I do feel a lot of stress right now. So what would be your recommendation?
Well, there's definitely a handful of things in there. I had a handful of questions, but one thing I want to touch on is just as far as your creativity being stifled. That's something that's really common. So especially with anybody who's working a really taxing job and you're trying to start your business on the side, that's definitely something to just kind of be cognizant of, that it is possible, but you have to be very focused, disciplined. I would really focus on mindset and just watching how you're using your time. So I don't know, how many hours you're working in your day job and how many hours you're able to allocate on the side. Oftentimes people are able to allocate more hours than they are honest with themselves about on the side, but it requires giving up other things. So it's all about what it is that your priorities are. How often do you, watch TV, socialize, go out, scroll on social media? How productive are you with your outside of work time? So you can often find certain time in there, but you want to make sure, obviously, if you're exhausted, you're not going to be very effective. So making sure that you're able to be in control of your mind so that in those windows that you do have, you can be as effective as possible. So for anybody who, I'm speaking to you or anyone else that this is resonating with, but the biggest thing that I would focus on there are tools like meditation to really get your just mindset and everything dialed in there so that you can be more effective with the little windows of time that you do have. And anything that's going to help stimulate creativity, balancing left and right brain. So whatever kind of job you have, if it's taxing more left or right brain, do the opposite outside of work. Balancing left and right brain is going to really help exercise and make your left and right brain function more better together, because we leverage both of those when you run a business and so many other things. But if you're doing something that's really taxing on either side, then you kind of get a little bit rusty on the other one. So that can kind of help jumpstart things as well. So I don't know if that was exactly your question. Was there something else you want to kind of refine in there that you want me to dig into more?
Yeah, sure. So I do agree meditation is a great weapon to allow me to detach from the chaos right now I'm facing on either by my emotions or the conditioning from the society. You have to do this way, and you see all the other collective consciousness are like working on the same way without me being run by the conformity. So right now I do agree that I have to be very disciplined to manage my energy. So my question would be, how would I get two systems to working on the same time? So one system I would believe to build a business capitalism America. This is one system. Eventually, maybe build my brand and see what is good on both market and try to launch a little bit at the start in China and then eventually in America. My other system would be cooperate China system. But sometimes the two personality is stepping onto each other, you know. And I do feel like my aggression and anger, our masculine presence, is being squeezed while I'm in China. And later on, while trying to open my mind back to work or speaking English, I just feel like it's so drained. I don't know how to balance those two systems. If that makes sense to you.
Yeah. First, I just want to thank you for saying all that. I think you bring up something that's depending on where somebody's from, that might not be something that everyone can relate to personally, but it's something that's I know that you're far from the only person who's gone through that kind of a balance and navigation, and that can definitely be really bring up a lot of different things. So I can kind of answer that from a few different ways. But yeah, when it comes to one angle of that, when it comes to two completely different markets, like you are never ever going to market things in the US the same as you would market them in China. Like there's just, if you try the exact same marketing, and that goes for a lot of countries, you're just going to find very different mentalities and just like how the market reacts to different things, which for the record, that is not my specialty. I work pretty much exclusively in the US or any countries that are very similar oriented to the US. But yeah, so you definitely, I would not recommend building a business that you're going to model targeting two different countries. I would focus on one and really get product market fit and some traction in that one place. Focus completely on that market, and then once you have success there, then you can launch in a completely different angle on to the other market. It's just going to be completely different, and it's just going to be exhausting all of your resources trying to do double duty like that. When it comes to the mindset piece of that, so I talked about how it's important if you have a day job that's taxing on left or right brain to do the opposite on your off time. But you mentioned specifically just really having a lot of your aggression and masculine energy be called to the forefront. So that's a really important thing. Like I love talking about just the concept of masculine, feminine energy. That's just like I've done workshops on that. So I mean, I don't know if that's something that's like of interest to the school of, to your community. I can totally do a workshop on that. It's totally not related to anything that Jack and I talked about, but something that I'm really passionate about because I feel like it's just so important. A lot of people have a lot of misunderstandings about just like what that really means and how to really leverage it properly in your life and business both. So knowing that that's the case, focusing on things that are more feminine. So the same concept of left and right brain, but you want to have a balanced same thing of masculine and feminine energy. Every single person has a balance of masculine and feminine energy. And if you're too high in one, you need to balance things out in the other. So I could deep dive on that in so many different directions, but find ways to soften and come from a compassionate receiving place instead of the masculine aggression. If you find that you're too out of balance there, when you're running a business is a masculine energy. So you do need to so any females that are on here, like you have to be careful. Like it does bring you out of your feminine when you're running a business, but if you are like strong in your feminine energy, you can leverage that as a big strength. But I don't know, William, is that helpful at all? Was there something more?
Yeah, I do agree that I need to focus on one side and get something moving at an incremental level at the beginning, and later on see where it goes. And for your advice for feminine and masculine, I do think that makes sense as well. Because while I was in America, I was taking care of everything almost by myself. I'm away from my family, and I was, getting a lot of inertia on masculine. And China, sometimes you're not allowed to speak for several content. So maybe being feminine and feel more and balance two brain without letting me die on creativity by giving more feminine energy would be a great way to deal. I would try. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. That was totally not an expected question, but not directly related, but we're all human beings, so that impacts all of us. So after we can totally sidebar on that, I would totally love to give a presentation on that. I'm sure there's a lot of people that would benefit from that. So cool.
100%. Yeah. As well as any other ideas you have,
Cool.
Feel free to go ahead and DM me on school, message me, anything that brews up, and then we'll make sure to plan it. But otherwise, thank you so much, Rebecca, for this amazing workshop, an hour and 30. That's insane. And all the value you dropped, immensely appreciated. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, I know. So if you have to kick us off, let me know. Otherwise, I know we still have a whole bunch of people on the call. I'm happy to answer for a couple more minutes if you want, or after you tell me if you got to kick me off.
No, yeah. If anyone has any last minute questions, be sure to raise your hand. I'll be more than happy to bring you up within the next couple minutes. But if we're good to go,
hard stop at the 45. So
okay.
A couple more minutes if anyone else has any questions. I can keep scanning the chat. I think I got some DMs in here. Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. Cyril has got a question. Where do you find your B2B clients? She might be too shy to ask, but I just thought I'd add that in there.
Where do you find B2B clients? So this is just, it's going to be the same answer no matter what your market is. You have to figure out where your market is as far as where to get clients. So I would never, ever rely on one place for where to get clients. So that's never going to be just a single answer. You want to figure out every single place that your client is, focus on wherever they are the most, put together systems around whatever answer that is, and then continue to add on anything else that's on that list as well. Do not ever lean on one thing. So you never know when certain things could change, regulations, platforms, the market. So there's tools that leverage how to collect clients on Facebook, but Meta's always changing the regulations. You never know when those kinds of things are just going to dry up overnight, and you're not going to have access to those tools. So I'll never rely on one channel. So I don't know how to answer that more specifically without a little bit more context, but hopefully that helps. Dr. Jen.
Hi, I jumped on obviously very late. I just got done with patients, but I'm new to the whole group here in general, just a couple days old. But I do find that it is difficult in certain arenas, right? Like, especially if you're in a quote unquote male dominated arena or female dominated arena, although I think that's again starting to change a bit. But systems are great, but like when you have a business that's high touch and highly individualized, where do you find that you make the most benefit with systems? I mean, outside of the logical automate, which you can automate and do all that stuff. But, I feel like right now I'm in a crux in my business, and then I have a business partner who's similar, where we spend a lot of time, a lot of high touch, high value. And yes, our prices somewhat reflect that, but there's zero scale and zero like safety in any of that, with the market. We do treat more high-end clientele, although it's a mix. So our area, we're able to kind of be absorbed with some of that, but how can you speak to that, right? Because I'm not selling a widget.
Yeah.
We're selling results. We're selling, I'm not selling a zillion supplements, although like maybe there's a way for me to capitalize on like packaging up what I know to be best for like the 80-20 rule. I would love just like a minute or two of your thought on that.
Yeah, no, great question. So I know you tuned in late, but just a reminder for anyone else who's in that same boat or forgot it, because I know we covered a lot of stuff on the presentation. But when it comes to operations and systems, it actually is not tech. It can include what tech stack you use and how you use it and how it connects to the rest of your business. But a business operating system is actually a framework and methodology that streamlines your whole business. So how do you align all of your goals, everything where your business is going, to your team and everything else throughout your business? So when you have high touch, where you're having high value clients, if everything is very human oriented, systems are extremely important, because if it's more than just you that's communicating to your clients, you need to make sure that you have a system, SOP, standard operating procedure. How do you handle certain things that come up with those clients? How do we communicate certain things? What are the no-go zones? Where are the boundaries? Where are the things where we want to be guiding people? How something comes up, how do we handle it? How does a team member present themselves? What is the onboarding process? What are the different markers of like, how do we know that we're actually giving the right value to the clients? What's that feedback loop for, how the client communicates that back to you? All of those things are systems. So business operating system is also your core values, your mission and vision statement. It's your cadence for how you connect with your team internally, leadership, fulfillment team, how often you have meetings, what you discuss on those meetings. So your framework for all of those things are all systems and part of your business operating system. Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
Awesome.
That was a really great question. Yeah, cool.
I think we're good to go. I want to leave you some ample time, Rebecca. But any last thoughts? Your last message to the community?
Cool. No, I appreciate you all. This was a pleasure on my end. I look forward to doing more presentations with the community. So Athen, if you're around, if you want to hang out for a couple minutes and just debrief, if you have 2 minutes, that'd be awesome. If not, we can connect later. But thank you all for jumping on this call, and I hope to see more of you soon.
Awesome. Absolutely, everyone. I'll go ahead and message you privately, Rebecca. But to everyone here, I'll make sure to get the resources and upload it for you all, so you guys have access to those. And take care. We'll see you all in a bit. I think Adriana might have to end the meeting.